2025.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, sorry. It's 7/9/2025. This is John and Jack, and we've got what we would do if we were starting today.
I
John.
would buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. And you got to realize where we are in the 4 year cycle. The 4 year cycle is usually Bitcoin goes up for 36 months or 3 years, and goes down 12 months or 1 year. And we're on like month like 30 or 31 or 32. I don't remember exactly, but there's like 4 months left. Like the top will probably be in October, November, December, that time around November. Like by Halloween, like by Halloween is probably around, Halloween or Thanksgiving is gonna be the top. And so you just have to know that going into it. Like don't put all your money in Halloween. You are gonna be really sorry about that. So you just have to know that you can still get it now, it's still going up, but it will go down, and it will go down more than you want it to, and it'll go down for about a year. And after it goes down for about a year, that's when you go in real hard. And you can spend the time between now and the bottom of the barrel learning. And you can put in a little bit of money now too, to start learning now. Jack, what do you got to say about the 4 year cycle? Jack, is your mic muted?
It is. Thank you. Sorry. I think that you're right. I think that we are in the waning hours of the bull run. I think that if you're going to put some money in now, that's fine, but have an exit strategy within the next 6 months at least. And I think that that really comes down to because like what I was just thinking of was that if you're planning on being an investor and you're going to hold for a year or more, like you can you can buy now and just keep buying. You can use a different type of strategy. If you're going to trade and get in and out of an asset, you got to be real careful right now. And so those are, I think, the decision that you need to make next is whether or not you want to be an investor or a trader. What do you think, John?
Jack, I have the opposite view. I think if you're a short-term trader, now is the time to go in hard, especially on Ethereum and Solana and even Bitcoin. I think all three of those. If I was a short-term trader, if that was how I usually messed around with stocks, I would come at crypto the exact same way. If I'm a short-term trader in stocks, I'm gonna be a short-term trader in crypto, and now's the time to go in real hard short-term because I think it's going up right now. And if I'm a short-term trader, if hopefully I'm profitable at trading stocks, I'll be profitable at trading crypto too, especially if I sell, later on this year. And if I'm a long-term investor, I would not go in hard now. I would go in soft if I was a long-term investor. If I'm gonna hold for a year or more, like dude, I'm probably gonna be holding through the bear market. So I want to go in soft. I might want to be a little more careful if I'm a long term investor here. I would want to go in a little bit, just and then I would learn. I would learn because like Warren Buffett says, you invest in what you know. And if you don't know anything about crypto, don't invest a lot in it. Maybe invest, $1 or $10 or $100, just something small or something meaningful to you. Maybe if you're really rich, invest 1,000, whatever. That's a small amount of money to a rich person, maybe. And then use that skin in the game to as motivation to learn more about crypto. And as you learn more and get more experience, then you can, put more of your money in. But if you're a long-term investor, I would actually go easy right now. But what are your thoughts on conservative or aggressive?
Well, I was going to say that's going to make a difference in your strategy regardless of whether you're investing or trading. You need to decide if you're going to be a little bit more methodical. Are you trying to preserve capital or are you trying to grow capital?
Hmm?
Right? If you're trying to conserve capital, you need to be, again, more conservative, more careful, more thoughtful about how you deploy that capital. And you might want to consider going heavier in what would be a traditionally thought of in crypto safer asset like Bitcoin. If you're going to be more aggressive, well, then you're going to want to look to things that are going to perhaps have a higher return over a short period of time against Bitcoin, in which case you'd look to ETH and Solana. John, what do you think?
I agree. I don't even have anything to add. That was perfect.
All right.
Um,
Well, then
but
DCA. What do you think
yeah,
about DCA versus lump sum? Because I think that, if you're conservative, you're talking about DCA. If you're aggressive, you're talking about lump sum.
yeah, I think that fits, especially for a long-term investor. And again, if you are an aggressive long-term investor, you can lump sum now, but don't lump sum 100%. Paul, because you're going to be sorry in about 6 to 12, or about 12, no, in 6 months, you're going to be happy. in 18 months, you're gonna wish you never heard of crypto.
Which was why it makes a big difference on how you're planning to do this, right? If you are going to try to be a trader and be aggressive right now, that's fine. But again, you need to have an exit strategy soon.
Yeah, and as far as DCA, you can DCA anytime you want. That's the beauty of DCA.
Right. So
Like,
if you're more conservative, for example, you
yeah,
can
you're
just
more conservative
put it on
DCA.
autopilot.
Yeah, slowly accumulate. Just set it and forget it. Set your DCA and just read the news, watch this channel, and learn.
Exactly. Well, okay. So I think that that sums it up. We didn't really talk about any amount of portfolio on that. I guess
We'll get to that.
we I think that that'll come up in our very first article.
Speaking of the news,
Yeah, which is the Truth Social files S1 for crypto blue chip ETF on tracking the top crypto assets.
yes.
I read this article shortly before we went live, and I found it fascinating. John, thanks for sharing it with me. What did you have that you wanted to touch on specifically?
A wild article in a lot of ways, but one way it's not wild is I'm kind of shocked at the what they chose for the crypto. It's got 70% Bitcoin, 15% Ethereum, 8% Solana, and a couple more. And I'll get to the other shit coins later. But that's a pretty, I mean, that's 75, 85, 93% of this ETF is Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, which is exactly what we just suggested. And I would say that this is a pretty good mix. I would say this is a fairly conservative mix, 70% Bitcoin, 50%, 15% ETH, 8% Solana. I would say if you're a fairly conservative investor, that would be a good mix for you. I think if you want to be really conservative, you go like 90% Bitcoin, 5% ETH, 5% Sol. If you want to be a little more aggressive, I'd maybe go like 50% Bitcoin, 25% ETH, 25% Solana. If you want to be really aggressive, I would be like 33% Bitcoin, 33% ETH, 33% Solana.
And if you
Um,
want to be an absolute maniac like Raul Paul, you can go 90% Solana, and who cares about the rest?
yeah, and then you sell it all for sui.
Hey, that might not be a bad idea
That's
if it
terrible.
turns out to be the next Solana.
Do not if you're just let's yeah, I shouldn't even have mentioned that.
Yeah,
But
we shouldn't have brought that up.
yeah,
Back to the S1 filing.
yeah. I think this is actually a pretty reasonable portfolio. Like,
Yeah, it strikes me as like it strikes me as an index fund. And like you said to me, it matches the approximate dominance or market capitalization of each of these assets. So like Bitcoin, you had said 65% dominance at the time of shooting this video.
mhm.
And then what was the other?
So yeah,
Yeah,
what Jack is talking about is what percentage of the total market cap of all of crypto is Bitcoin. And Bitcoin happens to be 65% of all of crypto, meaning, and I don't remember the exact numbers. Actually, I can pull it up on CoinGecko here. But total crypto market, all crypto combined, added up, is $3.5 trillion right now. Bitcoin by itself is 2.2 trillion, which works out to about 65% of the total market cap of all crypto is just Bitcoin.
right.
Now, Ethereum's market cap is 334 billion right now, which makes it about 9.5%.
So
And Solana's market cap is 84 billion, and that puts it at I think about 2.5% of the total market cap. So, you know,
so they're
you
almost they're technically a little aggressive even, but
yeah, and you can always choose your own adventure, but there's a lot of interesting things about this crypto blue chip ETF. But honestly, I think the most interesting thing is that I'm actually quite impressed with the balance of cryptos in here. Now, there's a couple more shit coins, and we're not even going to mention them. We're going to go to our next news
but we are
article.
not recommending the other ones that you can read about in the article.
Yeah,
And then you said on to the next one. Solana captures 95% of tokenized stock trading volume in massive DeFi pivot.
yes,
I think this is much bigger story, but
yeah. I think it's more of the same, right? Because in one way, you have traditional finance buying crypto and bringing crypto into the stock market. That's what these ETFs are. Is this these ETFs are bringing crypto into the stock market, and then now this article is crypto bringing stocks into the crypto market. These stocks are going on chain.
Yeah, this is crypto eating the stock market.
So this is the reason Solana was created. Tully is the creator of Solana. He created it to make a stock exchange, an on-chain stock exchange, and it's happening. And there's many companies involved: Robinhood, Kraken. Uh, I don't even know their company. We're not even going to list the companies, and they're not even all listed in this news. This specific news article is not even that important. It's just an example of what's happening right now. And what's happening is stocks are going on chain, and there's a number of reasons why that's a big deal. And honestly, for Americans, we can trade stocks all we want. Like we don't
Go to
even
our
need.
bank and trade American stocks.
But the nice thing about this is that we could trade stocks at night and on weekends.
Yep,
If
that's pretty huge, which will make the
that,
market open longer.
yep. So that's kind of cool. And of course, people in other countries can trade them, and you can do things like DeFi, right? Like you can do perps per.
DeFi
So-
stands for decentralized finance as opposed to TradFi, which is traditional finance.
yeah. But so this is just another example of a big time use case for crypto, right? Because you have Bitcoin, it's a store of value like gold. You have stable coins, it's another way to
Dollars, digital dollars.
right? Now you have another way to trade stocks besides on a traditional stock exchange, which is only open during banking hours, Monday through Friday.
Unless you have over $1 million and you get access to the after hours trading where a lot of the moves happen and you don't get to take part in them at all if you're a regular pleb like us.
Yes,
Well,
and
well
oh,
now you can.
also I just remembered. Also, there's you can get access to stocks you can't normally get, such as XAI and
Oh,
SpaceX.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, they're putting these stocks that normally you have to be a accredited investor to get access to, and probably there's going to be IPOs and other it opens up a lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
And I don't know which direction it's going to go. And a lot of this is still up in the air. None of this is finalized yet. It's all in the early stages. But this is why, and this is why we mentioned Ethereum and Solana. All of these stocks are going on one of those two chains.
Yeah. And again, like you mentioned, Solana was designed for this. Like
Mhm.
it's by far the fastest of these top three chains. Like it's not even a competition. It's light years faster than all the rest of them. It's the only chain capable of trading real time for a stock market
Right,
on the blockchain. Like
right,
full stop. Nothing else can do it right now. I
right.
don't
And
think.
yeah, and Ethereum L2s are going to eventually be close to it, maybe. I mean, I do like Solana here better than Ethereum, but I do like, I still think Ethereum is, what's good about it is Ethereum is more decentralized than Solana. And
Yeah, and it's been
that's,
around longer. It's proven. Sorry.
yeah, long track record, more reliable. But Solana is the faster, cheaper one, and more likely to be successful as far as active stock trading.
Right. Well,
Um,
and even like the guys over at Jump Trading, right? They created a new interface for Solana
Fire
sp-
Dancer.
specifically so that they could, you know, be able to do this stuff fast enough. And that's where yeah, Fire Dancer comes from. And like not only that, but like the token volume, this chart here is absolutely absurd.
Well, am I seeing your screen? I don't know if I can see your
Oh, I'm
screen.
sorry. I can share my screen with you. Give me 1 second. Um,
I think,
let me do that.
and this is all a work in progress, right? Like none of this is finalized yet, which is what's so interesting to me about investing in crypto is the space is constantly moving and evolving, and you got to kind of be ready to keep up with it.
Yeah. So the chain. I'm sorry. The graph is on-chain stock token volume by blockchain, and they list Sonic, Gnosis, Avalanche, Base. None of them get above 2 million. And then you've got Solana that's over 8 million.
Is that trading volume?
Yeah, stock token volume. Though they don't have Ethereum on here, so they're not comparing Ethereum to it. But the chart
Yeah,
is absolutely silly.
and I think Robinhood's launching on Arbitrum, which is an L2 of
Right.
Ethereum, and
Correct.
Arbitrum's not even on that list. So
Yeah.
this is And that's another thing when you're looking at statistics for crypto, like you got to be really careful what you're looking at because everything's piecemeal. You got to kind of piece it together, the information, and not be too hasty about your decisions. But yeah, this is just, I just wanted to highlight this as this is one of the main things happening in crypto right now is stocks going on chain.
Hmm.
And it's something to watch and it's something to, you know, pay attention to in crypto investing. And it's part of our main topic today of just the institutionalization of crypto. This is just another example of, you know, both of these news articles. One, like I said, the first news article highlighted how traditional finance is bringing crypto onto the stock market. At the same time, crypto is bringing the stock market on chain, on the crypto chain, so on crypto rails. And so it's going both ways. They are merging from both directions. Crypto is approaching traditional finance, and traditional finance is approaching crypto. It is happening. This is the bull run. This is what we've been waiting for. Like this is it. And that's the Bitcoin chart right there. You can see the 4 year cycles. You can see, is that the monthly? No, that's
It's
the
the three
quarterly.
month, yeah, quarterly.
That's the quarterly chart. So you're gonna see 12 quarters up and 4 quarters down. 12 more quarters up, 4 more quarters down. 12 quarters up, 4 quarters down. And how many quarters up do we have? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. We're on our 11th quarter up right now, right? Uh,
Yes,
uh,
that's
Current
correct. I
cycle.
think from the
If you
bottom.
count those candles, yep,
One,
count those candles.
two,
Starting, yep, that
three,
green one is number one.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we're working on 11 now.
Yeah, we're working on the 11, and the 12th one, that's going to be the last one. And look what happens on the 13th candle in the other cycles. Yeah, yeah, a bunch of down. So
Takes the escalator up and the
now,
elevator down.
does that mean it's going to happen this time? Is it 100% certain? It's not 100% certain, but it is the most likely scenario. I would say there's a greater than 50% chance that the 13th candle here is going to be down, and that's going to be starting in September, October, November timeframe, around there, December. So that's that. But also, if you know, as you can see, the whole thing is up and to the right,
Mm-hmm.
right? Overall, if you can wait long enough. So again, you have to ask yourself and be honest with yourself. Am I short term? Am I long term? Am I a trader? Am I an investor? Am I conservative? Am I aggressive? Am I, if you're all the way new and you don't know what you are, I highly recommend DCA. DCA is the easiest strategy to not lose a bunch of money.
Yeah, I
Just
mean, if you think about it this way, when it comes to this, I was thinking about this when we were talking about conservative versus aggressive investment versus trade. When I came in the previous cycle, I I was lucky because you kind of brought this stuff to my attention when there was a dip, a pretty significant like 50% pullback in the market or more, and that's when I started buying. But I bought the top. I bought the top of that last bull run, and I just kept buying. And then when the bear market came, the biggest mistake I made was that I went away and didn't continue to buy in the bear market. But even though I didn't do that, because I just stuck around long enough, like I'm in massive profit. And that's kind of the lesson I take is that you can be a trader or you can be a long-term investor, but if you just, you know, are patient uh, and hold on to a winning asset, you'll eventually come out on top.
yes, I agree. And you know, things are pretty euphoric right now. Bitcoin is very close. I think Bitcoin hit an all-time high today,
Oh,
by
really?
like $40. Yeah,
Nice.
I think it did. And you know, like I said, traditional finance is merging with crypto. Like that's a huge narrative. We are definitely approaching the top of this bull run, and I think it's going to run for a few more months. But there's going to be a just when you think there's not going to be a top, when it's going to go up forever, that's when it's going to top, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, see, uh, so I just you got to be aware of that, and plan accordingly, and learn as much as you can. Learn technical analysis, so you can read the price charts. I think my favorite for that is the chart guys, and I think I think DCing is good. I think not financial advice, but learn. You got to learn. You got to learn. This channel is all about learning, and learning is important.
Yeah,
And
I was sorry. I was just gonna say that with when it comes to the institutional adoption, like I was thinking about it, and there's a good chance that the 13th candle is red. However, like it may not be this kind of sharp, fall to the bottom. It might be a little less because of diminishing returns because there's institutional adoption now. Because there's so much money being poured in, like it used to be that everybody would be like, what's this Bitcoin stuff, and then it would start to go up, and then a bunch of people would pile in behind it, and it would just go through the moon, go to the moon. And then somebody would start to sell, and then everybody would sell, and then because there wasn't a whole lot of people and not a lot of money in the market, it would just crash, and it would boom and bust. And as more and more money comes in, it takes even more and more money to move the needle. um, and so we may not see as much of a decline on the during this next bear market by comparison to the previous bear markets because of all that extra money coming in. That's the other thing, that now there's not as much boom and bust because now that so much money is involved, even if a bunch of people, retail people like you and I, go rushing in when it starts to go, you know, to the moon to keep buying and keep pushing it, like that's not enough money. It's just not enough money, right? This is, mostly an institutional game at this point, but that's like people like me, that's what we've been waiting for. We've been
I,
waiting
I
for a small piece of this.
I 100% agree, Jack. I think that when we do have a bear market, it's going to be less severe than the previous three bull bear markets. But I think the timing is going to be the same or similar. But I think that, yeah, because like the first bear market there, you're close to it with your cursor. That first bear market, I think it went down 86%,
Well,
or,
let's see.
or maybe even more than that. Do you have the ability to measure that?
You're looking at 86.74%.
I remember correctly. And I think the next one is 80% I think, yeah, 80%
83.96
That's
approximately.
a little bit less. And then the next one should be 76%.
Let's see exactly where's the top here. Yeah, 79, 77, somewhere. Yeah,
Yep.
somewhere in
So
there.
maybe the next one will be like 72%, and maybe even less than that, maybe 69%, maybe 50%. I don't know, because there is more institutions buying. But remember Ray Dalio's video, How the Economic Machine Works? I'm going to recommend that to the new people. That's the next video you should watch, is Ray Dalio, How the Economic Machine Works. And basically, people borrow money to buy assets. And there is treasury companies in traditional finance doing that right now. MicroStrategy's been doing that since 2020. And now you got Jack Mahler's doing it with, was it CEP? You got over in Japan, you got Metaplan
Oh,
in
did I
it.
lose you?
They're,
Oh, there.
they're all diluting shares and selling bonds and borrowing money to buy Bitcoin. And they're just going to keep doing that until they run out of credit. And when they run out of credit, that shit's gonna crash. That's what's gonna cause the bear markets when they run out of credit. And if the price crashes too hard and they've extended their credit too far, they might have to they might have to sell some of their Bitcoin to cover their costs and their loans.
Yeah, I don't think
And if they got to
MicroStrategy will
do
have to.
that, the price is going to down even more. MicroStrategy survived the last bear market without selling any Bitcoin,
Right.
which is really impressive. So I think MicroStrategy is going to be okay. I mean, he survived the last bear market. He'll probably survive the next one too. Michael Saylor knows what he's doing, but all these other clowns don't necessarily. Some of them also might know what they're doing, but some of them are not going to know what they're doing, and they're gonna overdo it. In fact, that happened a lot last cycle. There's a lot of overdoing it happening last cycle. See FTX, see Three Arrows Capital, see Genesis, see I don't even remember all the examples, but there's a lot of examples of people going overextending with credit. Even Barry Silbert at Grayscale, who is still selling ETFs somehow. I mean, Barry Silvert's going to prison, from what I can tell. That dude is sketchy as hell. He was using client funds to buy more Bitcoin and stuff, and somehow he didn't blow up. Genesis blew up, and I think Genesis owes billions of dollars, and I think Grayscale owes billions of dollars to Genesis. But like I don't even know. Like it's a mess. Like I wouldn't mess around with Grayscale. I actually moved my ETFs from Grayscale to BlackRock.
Oh, you
I
had
didn't.
Grayscale?
Yeah, I had the Grayscale Mini,
Oh,
right? Because
okay.
regular Grayscale has a really high fee. But the Grayscale Mini, the Bitcoin Mini Trust had a 0.15% fee, which was lower than BlackRock has 0.25%. But I don't trust Barry Silver to Grayscale at all when I found out the truth. And that's another news article that we could put up for another time. But
Yeah, we're getting a little long in this video, and
yeah,
that is a discussion for another time.
yeah,
But I think
but
that the point is that big money, big companies, big whole countries are starting to get into the Bitcoin game,
mhm.
and there's a couple of things about that. One is that it's going to make the price continue to grow, but it's also going to mean that there's less volatility in the market. So, there's pluses and minuses to both of that. The asset's going to become safer, but not as profitable, perhaps. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. John, do you have any final thoughts before we cut the stream?
Yeah, Bitcoin is the savings account, and Ethereum and Solana are the vehicles of stock exchange. And that's those are the current narratives, but there's a lot more to it than that. But that's something to get you started.
Yep. If you liked the video, please give us a like. Consider subscribing to our channel and pinging the notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we put out another one of these. Thanks so much, and we will see you guys on the next one.